Let's look at this other one from Amy, because this represents the other side of the equation. So Amy's got a patient, Holly, age 41, stay-at-home mom. She's on Lexapro, 10 milligrams. Can't lose weight. So, obviously weight loss resistance, right? And not under a huge amount of emotional stress, although she's taking an SSRI. Eats pretty much everything, hip and joint pain. So then we look at her organics profile. And now I want to just kind of show you guys, and this is something we do extensively in the advanced class, okay? We have 4 months of this, but I want to kind of give you snippets of it throughout this class so you can kind of see how this can fit into your practices. Let's look at this organics profile strictly from the point of view of weight loss. And what are the markers on here that could help someone who's overweight lose weight? And as we mentioned a minute ago, carbohydrate metabolism is extremely important. For the adrenal glands, we always talk about 3 major stresses, right? Emotional, dietary, and inflammatory stresses. So second to emotional stress, carbohydrate metabolism is the second biggest push on the adrenal glands. So if your carb metabolism is off, you're going to be storing body fat no matter what. So you always want to focus on blood sugar control for someone like her. And part of that is 3 meals a day, 2 snacks, sometimes even as many as 3 snacks, and part of that is the supplements that are indicated based on the lab. And then the other major marker, and again, this is in Haley Pomeroy's book, the Fast Metabolism Diet book, is right here. She's got problems with phase 1 and phase 2 liver detox. Phase 1 and phase 2 liver detox. So let me just show you a little bit about that. And the beauty of it all is that this book explains in language that is, I would say, to me as a practitioner, like nearly, it would be poetic. I would describe her language as poetic. Because it's just so, you can tell this woman has been in front of patients for decades, and it's written exactly like the way that you want to talk to a patient. And so I find that just kind of inspiring because it's information that we can use directly in our own practices, right, pretty easily. So let me just show you a little bit about this. Liver connection to weight loss. And I've got some diagrams I'm going to pull up here. Here it is. So remember the markers that we're seeing here, oxidative damage, and let me just show you one more time. Oxidative damage marker, this is on the organics profile. Basically what I'm trying to describe here is this is how Dr. Dan changes an organics profile into the most amazing weight loss tool you ever heard. So antioxidant markers and detox indicators. Okay? And this is on the lab. This is not me making stuff up, right? So now the patient's trapped, logically trapped, seeing that this lab is saying that they have oxidative damage and they have detox indicators, positive both. So then we come back and we look at here. Let me just show you the diagram. And now we're thinking, okay, that's an issue. Why does that really matter? Well, with the liver detox pathways, phase 1 is dominated by B vitamins and antioxidants, and phase 2 is dominated by the sulfur compounds. And this woman has problems with both. So if we go back up to the liver diagram here, and this is, just pure gold, right, to get people motivated to lose weight. So why would my liver be related to me losing weight or not? Number one, when we have a lot of body fat, we're storing toxins in that body fat because these toxins are, by nature, fat-soluble. And that says it right here, right? Water-soluble toxins we're not worried about, and many, many toxins are water-soluble. We're not worried about them because all you have to do is hydrate well, and the water-soluble toxins get flushed out immediately. What we're worried about are the toxins that are stuck in the fat tissue. So a large percentage of toxins are handled just by hydrating well. That's all you have to do. And you have to avoid re-exposure to the toxin, obviously, as well. So that's pretty straightforward. In fact, in 2 or 3 weeks of avoiding a toxin, cleaning up your lifestyle so you're not around a lot of toxins and drinking a lot of water, you'll have flushed out and eliminated most of the water-soluble stuff that's gone. What we're worried about is the fat-soluble toxin that by its very nature has lodged itself in a fat cell somewhere in your body. And that stuff just doesn't get up and leave. And it makes it really hard for people to lose body fat as well because part of the body fat burn is going to be to release these toxins and it makes people feel crappy when they do that. So because we store toxins in fat tissue, and if we're very toxic, that's one of the reasons why it makes it harder to burn body fat. There's sort of a resistance of the body to release these toxins. And then there's also the fact that we may or may not be able to run, if you want to get more literal about it, you want to measure it with a lab, we may or may not be able to run phase 1 and phase 2 liver detox pathways on these fat-soluble toxins to flush them out of the body, even if we were burning body fat properly, right? So the other thing that's kind of directly correlated in with the diet is that the more toxic your food is, if you're eating Cheetos and drinking Diet Cokes and drinking coffee and drinking alcohol and eating all this sugar, all this has to be processed by your liver. And so your liver can end up spending, and does for most Americans, the majority of its energy and time dealing with all the toxins from your food, which leaves it less available time to burn up all the potentially toxic fat and excrete all the toxins that way. So, the diet plays a big role in this, and most Americans also don't eat nearly enough of the vegetables that have the nutrients that allow you to run phase 1 and phase 2 properly in the first place. So we're dealing with a situation where most of the people that we're working with are toxic, and most of them aren't getting the nutrients they need to run these detox pathways. And in this particular example from Amy's patient, we have lab-based evidence to show step 1, the antioxidant-related portion of this, along with the B vitamin portion of the first phase of liver detox is not present in adequate amounts. And we also see that phase 2, or step 2, the sulfur-containing amino acids aren't present in sufficient amounts. So let's just flash back to the lab for 1 second. And how am I getting all this from the lab? Well, it just says right here, B vitamin markers. You can see all these are positive. Okay, doesn't have enough B vitamins to run all these pathways. Also low in B12. Okay. The antioxidant marker is right here. Again, this is phase 1 collectively, these two together. Now, they don't tell you that on the lab. You're supposed to know that. Or I don't know if you're supposed to know that, but anyways, I figured this out just through trial and error. B complex markers, phase 1. Antioxidants, phase 1. And then here's our phase 2 marker right here. Okay. So now we go back to the lab, to the diagram here. And so if we can get phase 1 and phase 2 working properly, it makes it easier for the body to handle the toxins that are in the body fat. And as the toxins get flushed out of the fat cells, it's easier to burn the body fat. There's less resistance of the body to burn a regular fat cell than to burn a toxic fat cell. Also, when people lose the weight, they feel better, right? If you're full of toxins and your fat tissue is full of toxins and you magically start to burn that fat up, it's going to make you feel worse rather than better. So that's another impediment to people doing these weight loss programs, is they're burning all this toxic fat, and it makes them really, really, really sick. And I talk about this all the time, but I had these patients about, I don't know, maybe 7, 8 years ago. They were firefighters, California firefighters, senior firefighters, like captains of departments and stuff. And these couple of men that I worked with were grossly overweight, and apparently, and then one of the wives sent me this article from the California Firefighters Journal about how dangerous it is for firefighters to lose large amounts of body fat quickly, because these guys, spent their younger years running into burning buildings. Very, very toxic environmental exposure for firefighters. And they get older, they get these senior management positions, they put on a lot of weight, but they still have this massive toxic burden in their systems. And so it's well known among the firefighters that if the older ones who drop 50, 60 pounds, they can become extremely ill from the sudden release of toxins. So we see the same, maybe less dramatic thing happening with everybody. Maybe this woman didn't run into burning buildings all the time and inhale all kinds of nasty chemicals, but still, we all have some level of exposure to these toxins. So the healthier your liver is, the more easily you're going to burn body fat. The more toxic your system is, and the less able your liver is to burn fat, the less fat you're going to burn. So this explains a lot of people who are basically, if you think about it, eating a minimal number of calories, exercising a whole lot, usually somewhat stressed or highly stressed, and just can't burn the body fat. If we can get the adrenals calmed down, get the blood sugar metabolism working properly, get the fat burning going from a hormonal perspective, and at the same time clear up the liver, all of a sudden these people can start to lose weight. And that's what this whole book is about. And I love this book more than I've loved any diet book in the past, I think, because it's all about the adrenals and the liver, and it fits. It's almost like she wrote it for my practice. It's almost like it was designed for my practice. It's absolutely perfect because if they follow the rules in the book, and when we add to that the adrenal supplements and the liver supplements, you get this sort of acceleration of all the fat burning that you want to do. And she describes in really great detail, like specific days of your week that you're going to eat in a specific way to get the fat-soluble toxins out, right? And by even naming specific vegetables that have nutrients like choline and carnitine and everything that you need for fat burning. And then she speaks also extensively about the adrenal part of the program and how part of her diet is oriented around healing and repairing and calming down the adrenal glands. So it's just a perfect overlap, and it works really well. I mean, and it's a logical diet. It's safe. I don't think there's anything risky or dangerous about it at all, and it's pretty well described to the point where people can start to understand it. So if you're wanting to do weight loss, you can do the fast metabolism diet without the lab work, but the labs, especially the organic acids profile, gives you some pretty good insight. So let's look at this one more time. Here we go. Carbohydrate metabolism, and now I'm going to call that an adrenal-related issue. Body system number 1. Adrenals, body system number 1. And I'll show you what I mean by that in a second. Why is it adrenal-related? Because it's related to carb metabolism, and the adrenals are all about burning carbs, right? They're all about blood sugar. And if your blood sugar is unstable, your adrenals are going to take a hit. So the carbohydrate support portion of the program, I would put in with the adrenal portion of the program. We're going to forget some of these other markers. The B vitamins and the antioxidant marker here are both related to phase 1 liver detox. So again, even though the lab doesn't say that, we know that based on the pathways. So here's our liver support argument right here and right here. And then detox indicators, that's going to all revolve around phase 2. So if you look at the lab again, a little more detail. Here's the marker for hydroxybutyrate. That's for blood sugar support. That's going to help with the adrenal part of the program. We're skipping over some of these markers because it's too complicated to do this all. We talk about phase 1 liver support. Here are the B vitamin markers that are showing up positive, including, by the way, B12. You could use all that in the program if you want. And then here's the antioxidant marker, hydroxyphenyl acetate, number 28. Positive, so that means we can use the antioxidant support for phase 1. And then here's orotate, that's elevated. Now you'll also see borderline elevation of 3 of these other markers here. Okay, so when you see a pattern like this where there's 4 markers that are either high or borderline high, that indicates this person needs more support with their liver detox pathways, with the phase 2 part of all this, right? So now when it goes down to program design, let me show you how you can do this. And again, this is for weight loss resistance, right? We've got, well, let's take out this for now, because we would have, a basic adrenal program running in the background. The B vitamins that I mentioned, those are in the multi-packs. You don't have to worry about that. That's already been covered. But what we didn't cover yet would be carb metabolism. So you want to do some kind of blood sugar support to support glucose. That's an easy one from Biomatrix. You can do the support glucose. That would nail the blood sugar related issues. And then we also mentioned phase 1 and phase 2, right? So for phase 1, you can do antiox. You can do support antiox. The other one I'm using in my practice a lot now is Designs for Health, support antioxidants from Biomatrix. The other one I use a lot in my practice is, it's got a weird name, Detox Antiox. I like it a lot. That's from Designs for Health. You give a couple of those. And remember, why we're doing that, we're getting phase 1 cranked up, right? You also want to do phase 2 support, and that could be support liver from Biomatrix, has all the phase 2 stuff in it, or Amino Detox from Designs for Health. A couple of those. Well, I could give you, if you think they're really toxic, you can give them as many as 3. So 1 to 3, depending on how toxic you think they are. So we got phase 1, phase 2, the blood sugar support, and the B vitamins are going to be in the multi-packs. And then you couple that with Pomeroy's book, which is going to break out like this. They're going to have 2 days a week on an adrenal support diet, higher carb, protein, healthy veggies, all that stuff, right? And then 2 days a week on a liver diet, special veggies for the liver, protein, no carbs. And what's really important about both these is they're low fat, extremely low fat. And then the third, now you're basically on Friday, Saturday, Sunday, right? It's going to be 3 days a week with protein, some carb, healthy fat, and that's the fat burning part. That's the burn part. So 2 days a week, you're supporting the adrenals specifically with the diet. 2 days a week, you're cranking up the liver specifically. And then 3 days a week, you're doing the fat burn. And then you rotate back around the next week and do the same thing again. And then the beauty of this is, with our programs here, then we have, this would be liver support program. Okay. And this one is based on the lab. You can do it without the organics profile. But I want to show you, since Amy has such a beautiful example, I want to show you how you could do it with an organics profile. You can totally do this without an organics profile, okay? That's fine. But this is specifically based on the lab, the things that this particular patient needed. And then, of course, there'd be an adrenal program. We're assuming that is in the background, adrenal program for stage whatever, 2 or whatever it is, okay? And so this is like super healthy weight loss. And the education that the person gets from reading that book will really orient them around this. And all you have to say is, look, Pomeroy's book is amazing. Everything in there is absolutely what we do. And I'm just going to make this happen faster because we're going to do a lab-based supplement program to accelerate your weight loss benefits of the diet so you don't have to wait around for a long time to make it all happen. And so I've been following the diet myself for a while too. I'm kind of off of it now, but I've been doing it for a while. And I don't know, you guys see, I'm doing the camera now. I didn't used to do the camera. Maybe this is part why, because I'm down to, I'm off of my highest weight now by 17 pounds. I lost 17 pounds of body fat in the last year, which is really pretty remarkable. I'm a testament to the fact that you can eat a lot of healthy food and still gain weight. Now, the portions of the lab that I didn't cover that you could deal with at some future point, maybe a little bit too much to do all this right away, would be energy production markers. You can cover that at some point. We didn't specifically talk about B12, but you could certainly throw B12 into the program. And I think that's it. So usually, if you can handle it, and I'll show you if the patient can handle it, B12 is pretty easy because you can just do it with one product. Right now we're using homocysteine supreme from Designs for Health. And it's like 2 capsules once or twice a day. That one's pretty easy to do. And that'll be a big energy boost for her if she needs more energy, B12. And that's got some folate and some B6 in it, okay? And of course, that really helps with liver detox as well, right? The B vitamins, especially B12, folate, and B6, that really helps the liver crank things up. So there you go. You got potential weight loss program there based on an adrenal lab, doing an adrenal protocol. I didn't sketch it out. I'm assuming that we're doing that. and then a liver-based clearing program so you can stimulate fat burning, because all this fat's going to get burned up in the liver, and combination of diet and supplements. Okay? And I'm having a lot of fun with that approach. It's working really well for patients.